Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Reviews where today we have ourselves a track from an act named LJak titled Crazy. And if we switch over to here we have ourselves a track on the screen on YouTube and we're going to listen through this track from start to finish and we're going to hear what we think. Let's go! Vocal chops and filtering there with synths.
Say you know why when I'm alive, don't take no more life. I've been so tired of how you so lie that I don't mind killing you for I go crazy. You wanna look at how nothing better isn't in style. You wanna look at how nothing better figures it out. You wanna look at nothing other than what is in power. You wanna black it out so they can take it down.
I just want to pause here. I'll let the rest of the vocals and the verse flow through after this. I'll even go back a little bit. I just want to compliment just how much range we have within the backing. It's not just that we can sing, and it's not just that we can rap, but it's also just allowing things to kind of fade out without, kind of sit there for a moment, eerily, without any of that low end, and then the drums come in there just so punchy, and the beat is so engaging, and the bass and everything like that is just nice and tight.
What will you do when it's me saying run them out? And you can't shut my mouth or burn another outlet. You think I'm done and that you really won? Do you think an end to death if it's holding my blood? I'll probably never stop. The energy that I come out is insurmountable. You're regretting my abilities, prowess to take you in and around the very point I articulate, but you don't allow. I'm only voicing material on what I have found, and you don't know the sound. I'm not a rapper, but an artist painting systems. How can you look at me as who they mistaken as foul when I'm only saying what they won't now? Oh, I say you know why when I'm alive, don't take no more life. I've been so tired of how you so lie that I don't mind killing you for I go crazy. Different in signing plea, gifted implying free, instance of signing brief. Thought of how he could speak to them when they won't see. He'll be the last to breathe, and in your vision deep, elevated and seen. It's maybe something obvious, but not to me. Cause when you're in it, don't know the present from what it's seen. And yet there is a feeling of something incomplete. And so you know that you can't go until the mission's peak. The viral fire needs someone centered in peace. So disappear for certain years to reappear on a mission to reap. It's written in him, so it's hard to please it, but he moves on in his heat. And for that discipline, he's filling seats. They never thought that he would honestly part the sea and move in between hemology. Start a revolution found in all restarting keys to develop intelligence living on a leaf.
I mean, pardon the seas and developing intelligence on like this is some really interesting. The lyrics are fantastic. I like how colorful they are. You know, we seem like we can communicate clearly. We've also got a little bit of wordplay in there, and it's quite poetic. And it's nice to have that range between the simplicity of the melodies and the phrasings within the chorus sections with the further exposition in those verses.
Say you know why when I'm alive, don't take no more life. I've been so tired of how you so lie that I don't mind killing you for I go crazy. Say it one time and I think it's alright, go crazy. Feeling alright, get a look in your eye, I'm crazy. Blood so shine when it's in the night sky, go crazy. Feeling this time when you say I won't rise, go crazy.
It's just the stuff here with the these kind of rising arpeggios, these sequences on the synths there. We haven't had that before, where we know to introduce new instruments later on the track to further develop it and add something fresh and new. With the portamento basses as well. Iteration back to the hook.
Go crazy.
Cool. All right. If I was to, so we'll just immediately go to the conclusion. Because welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track from an act named LJak, titled Crazy. Now, what do I think this song is about? I think it's about someone who, as I mentioned, they're not just a rapper, they're like an artist, they're creative, trying to further discuss things that I think people are driving them crazy, or they want to go crazy, but they feel like they're being limited by others. They want to do things like, part the oceans or something like that, and they're capable of doing these incredible things if they just have the freedom and capacity to be able to do so. So I think that what we're looking at here is someone who feels like they're being stifled by others, and ultimately they just want to go past that, and they just feel like they're having to hold everything in, and it's a struggle for them. That's what I got from my first sort of listen through this track. There's a lot going on within the verse. I'd probably need to simply just listen to the lyrics by themselves to really sort of like get a feel for that, but I think if that's anywhere close to what we were wanting to communicate, then I think that we've done well there. The guy's clearly articulate as a rapper. He's got solid flow there. The words did come through clearly. There was a lot going on, though. It came through quickly. It's not like it was speed rapping, but it came through quickly. And I think that it was palatable and interesting to listen to, and it sounded proficient and professional. The singing parts, there was a bit of vocal effects and that kind of provided a nice sort of textural foil to the rapping parts where we were a bit sort of more clean cut with it. And I appreciate the misting, soothing, almost synthetic elements to those chorus and interlude bits there. I think it was a nice way to sort of adjust things and adapt there. It was, the guy's clearly capable of not only he understands his rhythms, but also how to layer melodies vocally and amongst a rather full-on back, and there's a lot going on in there, which we'll talk about in a moment there. Yeah, fantastic work on the vocals and the singing and rapping and such. I'm happy with it. I can understand how it relates to the lyrics. I think the go crazy part being a bit more forceful implies that there's a bit of craziness we're trying to sort of like get involved in then. So yeah, good job. The track itself at 3 minutes 49 is well fleshed out. We have a song where you have sort of an instrumental motif there at the beginning that's filtered, and then you have the vocals over top of them, the vocal chops. Then you come in with I think it's the chorus, the hook line. So you get the catchy part of the track purportedly immediately. Then you have the verse, and then you have a couple of verses and a couple of choruses going A, B, A, B, apart from like the interlude. And then like a kind of a break where you have several different synths or basses and drums and such like that before going back into the hook at the end. And then an instrumental outro there fading on the theme. And I think that's a really good way to flesh out a song that's this length. There was a lot of variety within it. Even though we stuck to a similar bass line and chord progression for the vast majority of it, it was the change of different instruments within the piece that made it very special. The main instruments that we had in this piece were typically, there were the drums, for example. The drums were fantastic and bombastic. We had a fantastic flow there with the 8th, 16th note grooves there, adjustments of the kicks and snares and rims and claps and stuff like that we had. There was filtering as well of the kits to some bit, I think, as well, which provided a nice sort of textural kind of change there to adjust between sections and add a bit of dynamic range. We weren't afraid to put some hi-hats and crashes in there. I think we definitely had some crashes in that last outro, which just made it sort of seem a bit bigger sounding. It was a nice way to sort of end things out. The bass was nice and thick and full. Occasionally it was more of an 808-ish kind of feel to it, but I think we also had some portamento sort of bass synths in the mid-range there that flowed nicely in that interlude section there, the little instrumental break. There were several different synth layers there. I think there was like a synth pad that provided a nice sort of chordal backing, or at least a nice sort of part of the triad harmony on the sides there that was really kind of smooth. It was like a mist, but it was like, it was really pleasing to hear. It was really pretty. And then there was also some sub-bassish kind of synths as well, rolling between notes. There were like synth leads, bump, bump, bump. There was like a nice little clean mid to upper range there, plick blonk kind of sound there that was really pretty as an alternate lead to the vocals. And we might have had some other synths and leads up at the top end as well. We had like the those arpeggiated sequences as well, which were a nice change and an interlude. It was something we hadn't heard before, so we're continuing to develop the song, the motif, the backing in a way that was really satisfying. And the combination of those different instruments, with the chord progressions present, it was a minor feel to it. We didn't really go into any sort of happier directions there, which sort of implied and resonated with what the lyrics and the vocals were talking about there, with the feeling of struggling, wanting to go crazy and stuff like that. We didn't have a lot of complexity to the harmonies or anything like that. I don't think we were one to sort of distract from. I don't think we were trying to apply a sense of nuance with the instruments within the mix there. We didn't have the same instruments the entire time. We did develop and take some instruments away. The choruses was usually full, but again, we added the synth arpeggiator thing later on there. The drums weren't all the time. Like in the first verse, we had like just some sort of backing parts and pads or whatever, and then we came in with the drums and they kicked in and sidechained neatly. It was good structuring. We did sort of micromanagement within the sections to keep it interesting, adjust things. I think it was a solid performance. I don't think there was a note out of place, but I can understand how the theme resonated with the lyrics. The studio recording, mixing, and mastering was tight. Got no complaints about that either. The vocals were crystal clear in the mix, whether it was the rapping or the reverb-soaked parts that we had and some of the chorus bits there with a bit of metatune or something like that on them. And yeah, we also had some vocal chops as well. There's a bit of extra high layer foil there that were really gorgeous sounding and were a nice, again, alternate lead to what we had on the mains. The bass drums, synths, and everything like that were nicely niched both in the frequency spectrum with no weird resonant frequencies and the frequency spectrum in the stereo field, with things nice and wide and surrounding you in the headphones, as well as I presume in the speakers. There was dynamic range in the track, things were not the same loudness all the time, and it was nice and low without pumping, so the bus compression limiting was handled, and effectively, like, this is commercial grade. I don't have any complaints about this. I don't know how we could have improved it. I just think it's a really sensational track from LJak, a fantastic first impression, and this is my review of this track from LJak titled Crazy, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show us some love via their various social medias and the YouTube page, and stay cool, stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as either hell more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I'll catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.